Judith Lewis Aldridge was born on December 15, 1946, in Hyannis, Massachusetts, and eventually became a home health care nurse. By 1986, Judy was twice divorced with 2 adult children, Craig and Amy, from her second marriage. She worked as a caregiver for a patient recovering from throat surgery. This was how she met her husband, Jeffrey Smith, who was the son of the patient. Jeffrey was immediately struck by how kind Judy was and how much care she put into looking after his father. Jeffrey, a lawyer who was also divorced with a child of his own, soon began dating Judy. The previous failed marriages made both of them a bit hesitant about the idea of remarrying, so they took things slowly. It would be 7 years before the couple would finally move in together, and another 3 before the couple finally got married in the fall of 1996. Jeffrey Smith was a legal representative for the Northeast Pharmaceutical Conference, an organization of executives and researchers based out of New England. It was in this capacity that Jeffrey was asked to attend the conference in Philadelphia, which would take place from April 9th to the 11th, 1997. Judy decided to come along on what will be the first trip the couple had ever taken. After the conference, they intended to meet with friends in New Jersey before returning home. On April 9th, Judy and Jeffrey arrived at Boston's Logan International Airport for their 1:30 p.m. flight to Philadelphia. It was at this point that Judy realized that she forgot her driver's license at home, and because of the new FAA regulations requiring passengers to provide ID before boarding, Judy was not allowed to get on this plane. So she told Jeffrey to go on ahead without her, explaining that she would go home and get her driver's license and take a later flight. Jeffrey agreed, the two hugged, and Jeffrey would aboard his flight. Judy ended up taking the 7:30 p.m. flight to Philadelphia that evening. She arrived at the hotel, went upstairs to meet up with her husband. Once she got inside, she hugged, kissed her husband, and even gave him some flowers as a way to apologize. Jeffrey told her that it was all fine, he wasn't bothered, and that he was just glad to see her there overall. The next morning, the couple spoke before Jeffrey headed off to the conference. Jeffrey had just returned to his hotel room after eating some of the hotel's breakfast downstairs, just around 9 o'clock a.m. "Man, the breakfast was great, honey. You should go downstairs and have some for yourself," Jeffrey told her. Judy was in the shower at this point. She joked in response that she should go down as she was at the time naked. The couple laughed and had a brief conversation about their plans for the day. Judy told her husband that she wanted to spend the day sightseeing around Philadelphia and visiting tourist attractions like the Liberty Bell and Independence Hall. Jeffrey told her that they should meet back at the hotel room around 5:30 p.m. That way they can attend a cocktail party that was happening later that evening around 6 p.m. Jeffrey told his wife goodbye and that the couple would rendezvous later on. Later that day, Jeffrey returned to his hotel room. Judy was not inside. He assumed she had returned, changed, and gone down to the party ahead of him, perhaps having gotten confused about their initial plans. So Jeffrey left his room, went downstairs to check to see if she was at the party. He arrived at the party and he realized that she still wasn't there. And at this point, he started to get a little bit concerned. It wasn't like his wife to just go missing out of nowhere and not meet for their scheduled plans together, and even informed a hotel employee who was standing by to begin calling area hospitals. Jeffrey soon left the cocktail party and paid a cab driver to slowly follow the routes of a tourist bus, which Judy had told him that she was planning to use. He called his stepchildren in Boston and asked one of them to go to their house and check their answering machines for any messages. None of those options yielded any useful information. Finally, he went to the Philadelphia police around midnight to report his wife missing.
"Hello, 911, what is the nature of your emergency?"
Yeah, I've been looking for my wife all day. Her name is Judy Smith. I haven't seen her all day. I was looking to file a missing persons report.
Sir, you're gonna have to call back within the next 24 hours. We can't process that information right now.
Jeffrey recalled that a detective said that if he wanted to push it, he could file his report first thing in the morning. Frustrated, Jeffrey spent the remaining of his night sleepless in his hotel room. The next morning, Jeffrey got up, went downstairs to speak to Philadelphia Mayor Ed Randall and John Purcell, a member of the Pennsylvania House of Representatives from the city, about what he felt was the police's dismissive attitude towards his complaint. So they just tell him, sure, we'll help you out. He said later that he believed those conversations had made a difference, as when he would go to the police station to make his report, an immediate search began throughout the city. Jeffrey mailed out missing flyers and hired 3 private investigators, but they could find no trace of Judy. Several reported sightings of her did come up during the investigation. Witnesses saw a woman matching her description in Philadelphia several days after she vanished, apparently acting strange and disoriented. Other confirmed sightings placed her nearby in New Jersey. However, police were unable to locate her. Then on September 7, 1997, so about 6 months after she disappeared, a man and his son hiking in the woods near Asheville, North Carolina, are just walking, having a good time, minding their own business, nothing too crazy. When they spot something from the corner of their eye, they don't know what it is, so obviously curiosity gets the best of them, and they stumble across what appears to be human skeletal remains. So, obviously the father and his son, they start freaking out. They're startled. They don't know what to do. And they start calling the police. And so the police arrive, and then they examine the body, and it will later turn out to be the skeletal remains of Judy Smith. She had been stabbed to death. However, a pair of sunglasses and a blue backpack found with them were not hers. And upon further speculation, nobody could determine on how she ended up in Asheville in the first place. She had only been to North Carolina twice, but had not been to that part of the state before. However, some of her friends began to suggest that she may have left Philadelphia voluntarily. Authorities found that the clothes that she was wearing suggested that she was hiking in the area at that time, not that she had been dumped there. Several shop owners reported talking to a Judy from Boston and Asheville, and a hotel clerk even remembered her staying at the hotel from April 10th to the 12th. None of the witnesses felt that there was anything wrong with her. However, police believe that she may have planned her disappearance and met with foul play while hiking near Asheville. Investigators believe that the killer is not native to North Carolina but may have ties to the area. He has never been identified and this case remains unsolved. Now, usually in cases like these, the first person they always believe to be a potential suspect could be the significant other. In this case, the police were on Jeffrey a little bit. They were questioning him soon after, but they quickly were able to rule him out because of his severe health problems. He was, after all, morbidly obese, and some even speculated that Jeffrey may have hired a hitman in regards to the killing of his wife. But that was never confirmed, it was just speculation. Jeffrey would unfortunately pass away in the year 2005 without ever knowing who killed his wife. There was also another possibility that serial killer Gary Michael Hilton was responsible for Judy's murder, because another one of his victims was found tied to a tree not far from where she was found, but however they weren't able to find any evidence that linked him to this case. Now, several people in the Asheville area recalled having seen Judy, or a woman matching her description. A clerk at a local retailer said that she seemed very nice. She seemed very alert to me. She was very pleasant. I didn't see anything about her that would indicate that she wasn't right in any way. The woman that she talked to said that her husband was an attorney from Boston, attending a conference in Philadelphia, and during that time she had decided to go to the Asheville area. An employee at the Biltmore estate who also recalls seeing Judy at a campground near where her body was found. The owner recalls that she drove up in a gray sedan filled with boxes and bags, asked if she could spend the night there in her car, and drove away after learning she could not. A deli owner in the same area told the Philadelphia City paper that Judy came up to her store in a gray sedan and bought $30 worth of sandwiches in a toy truck. Local investigators consider these sightings credible. Now, the first theory that people have speculated about this case is that she may have been having an affair with her husband, and she had this love interest, right, in North Carolina that she wanted to go and see. So she was willing to go at least 10 hours to go and see this person. Now, the only thing that really gets to me about that is, though, I don't know where the hell she got the gray sedan from, because, maybe she rented it out. Maybe the person that she was going to see was in Philadelphia, and maybe he picked her up. I don't know how the hell she got it. I really don't know. I don't know. I just feel like that theory just seems kind of ridiculous. Like, her and Jeffrey never went on a trip together. This was their first trip only together. Their first and last. Nothing else. And you're going to use this opportunity to go and be with somebody else, to go and see somebody else in North Carolina? Like, you would use this trip to have an affair with your husband while he's out having a conference in Philadelphia. It just seems kind of weird. And then there was the whole where she got to the airport with her husband and then she suddenly forgot her wallet. I found that kind of odd, because why the hell would somebody just forget their like their ID. Like that's the first thing that a person, that anybody should be bringing with them once they abort a flight. I mean, that's just common sense. But I mean, people forget shit all the time. I mean, I understand that, and they probably had new protocols about that at the time, where you needed to have your ID in order to board this flight. And maybe she just suddenly forgot about it. I don't know. That just seemed kind of weird to me. But either way, people were saying that her and Jeffrey's marriage were kind of like rocky towards the end of it, and she was just kind of like needing some time away from him, and she wanted to go and see this person in another state, and that's why she drove 10 hours. Like you guys gotta remember, Asheville is 10 hours from Philadelphia. That's a long ass drive, because depending on how fast you're going, it will probably take about 600 miles just to get from Philadelphia to Asheville. It will take about 600 miles. So that'd be a pretty long ass ride. And there was another speculation that she just simply wanted to start a new life. And that was it. She just said, hey, I'm done with this marriage. I'm done with this life. I want to start something new and fresh. I want to travel the world. I want to do things. I want to be my own person. And I just want to, go on about my business. And so that's probably what she was doing. And then that's when the sightings came about from people who said they seen her and said that she seemed nice. She seemed friendly and nothing was wrong with her. Still doesn't explain the gray sedan that she was allegedly driving, but I guess we'll let that slide. They also said that the red backpack that she usually carried around with her wasn't with her. They said that her wallet and everything else was with her, but the only thing that was missing ultimately was just her red backpack. And I think there was like a blue backpack that she had on that wasn't very familiar to anybody that she knew. So that was kind of weird. And then everything else was just with her. So they pretty much just ruled out the Robbie aspect of it. And let's just go back to the whole love affair thing that was theorized, because I almost want to say that this one probably doesn't make a whole lot of sense than the other theory where she just wanted to start her own life and just kind of get away from that. But I feel like this one just kind of makes less sense, because let's say I'm Judy, right? I'm a woman, right? That I decide that I want to have an affair with my husband. And, he tells me, hey, honey, let's go on a business trip together because I have a conference meeting out there. And I say, okay, let's go, honey, knowing that I want to be with my other lover. Like, why would I not just stay put back here in Boston, where I could just have the affair here and maybe wait till my husband gets back? Then once my husband gets back, and he could the other lover could just probably fuck off somewhere. I just don't see how it would make sense for her to sit here and plan this whole thing out when she knows she's going to be going with this other person. So I think the thought of her voluntarily doing this on her own accord makes more sense. She probably walked up the trail on the hike that she was taking towards the Asheville woods, and she probably ran into foul play with a person that didn't like her for some reason, and she was probably just at the wrong place at the wrong time. In this case, unfortunately, remains unsolved. Thank you so much for watching. I would try to post at least 2 times a week with this channel. If you like what you see, please make sure to subscribe to the channel if you can. Thank you.